Hi, everyone, and welcome to the MomafeyHT Live Conversations. And it is Thursday, and I am so glad to be here with you. And today we're going to talk about the two podcasts that just dropped this week. And I am excited because there are two good ones again. And the first one is the Mama Faye Becoming Me podcast. And it is, I dropped that on Tuesday. And that one is really dear to me because it is talking about becoming retired. And for those of you that don't know, and this is your first time being introduced to me, Mama Faye, and I apologize, I have a little bit of delay. I think we got a couple of more people on the network today, but hopefully you can hear me clearly and you can listen if it's too much for you. But we're talking about Becoming Me podcast, and it drops every Tuesday. And this week is talking about becoming retired, then reality hits, and what every person needs to know now. And I go into about the retirement process, and it is a becoming process, meaning that it is over a period of time. And today I want to go over a couple of those things that we talked about in that particular podcast. And one of them that is stuck out more with me, and I want to share it with any of you that are trying to retire or you're thinking about retiring. And for some of you who are at the age that you need to start seriously thinking about your retirement, because you have to start thinking about retirement really, the earlier you think about it, the better you are. But you definitely got to start pulling yourself together in your 30s, because that is when you have to, by that time, that's your deadline. You have to now make sure that you are putting away for that retirement, and you are it's kind of in the back of your mind as you move along. And usually what happens is that by the time you're in your 30s and 40s, your parents or your grandparents are at the retirement age. And so therefore you're working through that process with them. And while you're working through that process with them, you should be thinking about putting some things in place for yourself as well. And so starting the retirement has to happen well before you're going to press that button. And I know for some of you, this is very scary, but I want to encourage you today, because retiring today does not look like how it looked when your parents and your grandparents were retiring. There are some good things, but there are also some things that they were able to benefit from that is no longer available or is fate going away for us and for those in the future. So retirement is going to look a lot differently. But the good news is even though you are retired, you still can make a decision to unretire, or you can still make money or have streams of income even while after you retire. So I don't want you to feel like you have to make a decision that has to be for the rest of your life. And so therefore you're having a hard time and you're struggling because you want to make sure that when you make it, that it's permanent and it's definite and I can't go back. Yeah, you can go back. So, of course, you want to make that decision. It's not one that you make lightly, but when it's time for you to retire, don't be afraid to go ahead and jump in. And I want to tell you, at any phase or whenever you retire, it is going to be an adjustment. And so, what some of the things that you need to consider when you're going to retire is, what are your must haves? Because that is something that is different for everybody. I cannot say what your must-haves are, and you can't say that for me. And that's what makes this so tricky because our must-haves are different. Some of us want a big house. We want our dream house. We want the house that we're going to live in for the rest of our lives. And then there are those of us who say, I don't want a mortgage. I don't want to have the upkeep of a home. And so, therefore, I choose to sell my house and I want to do something different. So, that's why I was saying for us, retirement looks very different than it did for our parents because usually with them, it was about getting your dream home and your dream car and all of the things that you didn't get to do when you were raising your kids or you were working and trying to build. It was your opportunity now to do all of those things and get hobbies and things like that. So that was their focus. But for us, we need to decide what are our must haves and what are the things that we are willing to now change and maybe no longer have it as a part of our lives. So that's one of the things that you do have to have that talk with yourself. And also, after you have that talk with yourself, have that talk with your family or those that are around you that are going to be impacted by that decision, and let them know what your wishes and what you would like your retirement to look like, and make sure that you also, of course, write it down. And another thing that I will encourage you to do is know what you want to do next before you retire. Don't wait until after you retire and then say, okay, let's say you retired on Friday, you had the party, everybody wished you well, it was so exciting. You were going into this new part of your life. And then come Monday morning, when it's time that you would normally be going to work, you're sitting there saying, okay, but now what am I going to be doing? Like, because now I have nothing to do. And for those of you, like I retired from I retired from office work, so now I don't have the emails to open. There are no more emails. And a lot of times when you're in certain industry, you are working, I mean, like working and more than um 50, sometimes 60 hours a week. So it impacts a lot of your day. And so now that you're retired, you now have, if you haven't planned, you have nothing to do. And so that can be the most scariest thing. And for some people, they end up becoming depressed. And then another thing is, when you are working, you are around people all the time. And so you just take it for granted that, you don't realize how that is impacting your life. And once you become retired, a lot of those people are no longer going to be in your life in that way. So you have to prepare for that. And so that's why I say prepare for retirement long before you retire. And a tip that I would say do is whatever it is that you're going to be doing, start doing it about a year or two before you retire so that it is not so new to you that you are overwhelmed and you can transition into it a lot easier. So, and as I said, you can always change your mind. If that, if you retire and you say, oh, it's not for me, I'm bored, I don't have nothing to do, I can't think of nothing to do, I think I want to go back to work. And let's face it, a lot of times when you retire, I find out even if you have set aside a budget, a lot of times you're going to miss the money that you've made because that still is going to be money out of your pocket. And so I want you to understand that. And then in the newsletter that I did this week, I did talk about 20 changes that are happening right now that will impact your life and your future if you do not pay attention. And one of the things that I want to bring up today is about Social Security. Did you know? I found out. I think it must have happened during the pandemic. I don't know. But for those of you, I am a baby boomer. And, of course, baby boomers, this is about the time that we are to retire. But it was a lot of us, and there is a lot of us. And I didn't know that they had moved the full retirement age from 65 to, I believe it's 69, or is it 60? I think it's 60. Wait a minute, 67. I think it's 67 because I think they were trying to move it to 69. And whatever it is, it's not 65. So I you have to factor that in, because if it's not your full retirement age, the amount that you get from Social Security is lessened. So that's why you have to know for your year that you were born, what is the full retirement age for your year that you were born. And that's how that is calculated. So I want you, if you are retiring, you have to pay attention to that age if you're expecting that some of your money is going to be from your Social Security check. And a lot of time they're saying that, that is going to dry up, or we're going to get less amount. So if you're thinking about retirement, or you are so many years out from retirement, take that into consideration. So I put that in the newsletter, and that newsletter is free. I'm probably going to do a mini pod for those that are my paid subscribers, and I may do a little bit more, go into more details about some of those things as well. So this retirement thing is no joke, but the good thing about it is being retired, and if you're fully retired, you get to take your time a little bit better, like you get to have more time for yourself. And I'm learning new things, and I also want to encourage you to know that you are going to have to be a lifelong learner, and that what makes retirement fun. Now for me, I like tech. And one of the things that I do, of course, is I do my podcasting, but I have to learn a lot of technical skills in order to be able to bring those podcasts. And as you can see, I'm learning, because one of the things, I got this delay going on right now on this live, but I'm going to get there, and I'm going to get to the point where you're not going to see that delay, and it'll be correct. So I have to learn all of these technologies. So I was learning about Chat GPT, and I had a book that I had. I did a series. It wasn't live, but I did a series on times and seasons, and I wanted to turn it into a book. And what I did was I was able to get the words of the while that I was when I did the recording. It allowed you to see the words, and I wanted to take those words and turn them into a book. So I asked chat the chat, because I can't say it real right. I asked the chat GPT to help me to edit this particular book. And I was new to it all, so I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was trying. And I went through the whole thing, and I edited the whole thing. But guess what, y'all? I didn't know how to get back to it to find the book. So I'm thinking that Chat GPT done took my book. So I said, Chat, you done took my book. And the thing responded to me, no, I didn't. And I shut the thing down because I couldn't find the book in there. And I stopped doing it for a little while. And then I finally went back to it. And guess what, you all? It was me. I didn't know how to work the thing. But I kept working with it and kept learning how to use the chat GPT. And then I needed to learn how to use Canva. And when I first opened up Canva, it looked so foreign to me. So I closed it and I didn't want to be bothered. And then one day I said, you know what? Let me just take little baby steps and do it a little bit at a time. Don't try to learn all of it in one fell swoop. And so I opened it back up again. And so I was able to do some steps. And then as I went, I was able, and I was frustrated here and there because some things wasn't working and it wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. And when you start something at first, it's going to be like that. Sometimes it's going to be frustrating and it's going to not look like it's not working, and you're going to think you're a failure and you're going to feel like a failure. And I want you to stay with it if it's something that you really want to learn. And the good part about it is when you're retired, you have an opportunity to keep learning and to try new stuff. And I was able to take a certification for the AI. I did it through the Google, and I was able to, because I wanted to know all about what AI was. You keep hearing this term AI, and I wanted to learn what it was and what that is. So I took the certification, and that did help me to understand how to actually prompt what that meant and how to do that so that I can understand that process. Because I hear people, and you might hear people say, using AI is not like using Google where you search and then it gives you a response. It's you use it a little bit differently. So I want to encourage you, that may be your thing, or it may be something totally different. It may be gardening. It may be something in a whole different area, or something that you always wanted to learn. But I want to encourage you, if you're retired, to continue to keep learning and give yourself space. Don't be so hard on yourself and say, I can't. No, try, and you'll be surprised what you can do. And also know your limitations, because I do things differently. I do live life differently, but I still can do a lot of and learn a lot of new things. And then that brings me to the other podcast, which is Understanding Cycles by Mama Faye, and the newsletter, which is the Refresh newsletter. And that particular podcast dropped this today. And in that particular one, if you've been following the series, which we are almost coming to the conclusion of this particular series, and the name of the series is Winning While You Are Under Attack. And so we're coming from the book of Nehemiah, and this particular podcast is more spiritual and it's more inspirational. So it has a different feel to it, and so that's kind of the way that it is designed. It was designed that way. And in this one, we're talking about the book of Nehemiah and the Nehemiah strategy, because there was a strategy that Nehemiah did and if you are a person who feels like you are under attack, or you have to build and rebuild, this is the podcast for you. And in this particular episode, the title is You Thought the Attack Was Over, but It's Back Again, and How to Reclaim Your Life Before It Takes Over. And in this one, the Nehemiah had already been back. They had already built the wall. It was completed. They had set up new standards. He had already put everything in place, and the people that he needed to put in place, he put them all in place while he was there. But if you go back to some of the uh, earlier episodes, Nehemiah originally was working for the king. and he had asked the king for a leave to go do this work. So now he has gotten everything in place, and he's going back to his original work. Well, he decided, okay, I need to go back and check on the people and see how they're doing and see how they're working and how everything is working. And lo and behold, when he got back, guess who had done set up a place in the temple that that they had already rebuilt, and all of the things that they had built. The man who had tried to attack them in the first place, tried to stop them from rebuilding the wall, threatened his life. I mean, was doing some of the most. And this here he is done took over a room. Honey, did not just come, but took over a room. So how many times have you had things where you rebuild your life? You tried to get yourself together. Sometimes, you be in a relationship, with a man or a woman that, wasn't good for you, and you got them out your life, and you're getting your life on, and you're doing better, and you feel like things are coming up. And guess who come knocking on the door? Sometimes it's that same person, and they come back and they try to act like they done change, and it's gonna be better this time, and even sometimes old friends. But it also can be old habits, old ways that we have. You felt like you got it under control. You felt like you was able to get it together, and lo and behold, now it is back. So this is what Nehemiah was dealing with as well. And so he had to do some things to try to get these people back in order. So he had to remove the attacker belongings, and he had to clean the room. And so, for many of us, when things try to come back, or people try to come back into our life, because a lot of times people enjoy you when you were doing certain things, and you made a decision that you want to go a different way, you want to do a bit different life. And it's not that you didn't enjoy it while you was in it, but you realize that you need to make a change in your life because you want something better. And so a lot of times you begin to build your credit, you begin to build your finances, you begin to build, maybe purchase things. For some of you, it's going back to school. Some of you is starting a business, and now you're well on your way, and you see some progress, you see some results, and then here comes the thing that was a problem for you and was an obstacle for you, and a lot of times is a distraction for you. And it comes back to try to regain territory in your life. And so Nehemiah realized that this thing was back. So he had to clean the room. And so some of us, we have to go back, and we're going to have to redo some of the work that we have done before to clean up that area of our life. And you got to stay on it. I have things that I have to stay on it, because if you don't, it'll try to come back again and try to take over again. And so you have to constantly be on that and keep it under wraps. And then the newsletter, which is the refresh newsletter that accompanies that podcast. Also, it is 10 ways to reclaim what you built. And I go into specific steps that you can do to take and reclaim your life. And so a lot of times for us, it's not just building the thing, because a lot of times we're so focused on, I got to, build, and I got to get these things done. But once you build, it is very important to not go back the same old way, because another thing they was trying to do, bring back them same old habits. And you know how sometimes we have those habits and they try to come back. And right now we're going through such a tough season. And when I say tough, things are changing so rapidly. If we're not careful, a lot of our old habits are trying to resurface. And we have done a lot of work to try to move away from those habits and try to change our lives for the better. And so now those things are trying to resurface. So I give you the 10 things to do and accept on how to accomplish that, because a lot of times we need to know, okay, what are some of the things that I can do? And I find out with everything in life, there is that thing of consistency and endurance, because you and I, we have to stay consistent, and that is every day getting up. And yes, you're going to have some days that you're just not going to be in the mood, and that is okay. You are going to have days that you're just like, I'm just not with this, and that's okay. But get back on, whether it's the next day or after the weekend is over, get back on, and just make sure you don't do too much damage. That's the main thing. If you struggle, let's say it's your finances, and you're like, I'm just tired of the budget, and you may, spend a little bit, but just don't spend too much. Don't get so far away that you can't come back, and don't go so far long until you can't come back. Make sure that it's one little thing, and then you get right back on it. And so that consistency is very important. And then the next thing is endurance. Having the ability to endure the whatever it is. And in this moment that we're in, we're going to have to live an endurance life. And the way that we do that is we sometimes we're going to have to take it moment by moment and day by day. And each day, if you do something each day to help you on that particular day to make that day count, that will be something that you, by the end of the week, you got something to show for that week and for that day. Because I am one of them that love to be productive every day. I have my days when I'm not productive, but I try to keep them a little bit to a limit so that I can, at the end of the day and at the end of the year, I am productive. So, for those of you who have not joined already, I want you to listen to those weekly podcasts on Tuesday and Thursday. And of course, I want you to join me right here live on Thursday as I talk about it. And of course, I want you to get in touch with me, leave comments, leave questions, get it, message me, and tell me the things that you would like for me specifically to answer for you. And for those of you who want to become a supporter of the work that I'm doing, please subscribe to my Substack. I'm not one that like to get monthly subscriptions. I hate it. I'd rather do a yearly subscription and get it a one and a done. But when you subscribe, it's really to help me to continue to do this work. And it also encourages me to continue to bring you information that is going to help you to be able to stay motivated, but not only motivated, but to be consistent and to endure, because we're doing this together. And so I would like for you to subscribe to the podcast and the newsletter. Of course, most of the stuff is free, but when you do subscribe and you become a yearly subscriber, you become a part of the Becomers Club. And mainly, I try to, as a thank you, I can't pay you, but as a thank you, I give you one-on-one coaching sessions if you would like. Once you subscribe, I will send you a link, and I will for the coaching session. And also, you can do the subscription on. You can do sign up for the coaching session on my website as well. And I also have discounts on journals, webinars that I put together, a lot of handouts and resources. I have a special page that you will have access to as well. So, two ways that you can support what I'm doing is you can go to Motivate Moment on Substack and sign up there to become a free subscriber or paid subscriber. And also, you can go to my website, which is MomafeyHT.com. And also, I just last night opened up a community on YouTube where you can go there and leave comments, and I will look at your comments, try to answer those comments for you, and you can leave me things that you would like for me to talk about or you would like for me to discuss. I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited about being able to do that on YouTube. And of course, I have Facebook, so I look at those comments as well. So you can definitely reach me on Facebook as well. And I am on other social media platforms. I do go and I look at my comments, and I thank everybody that like and subscribe to what I'm doing. I really appreciate that. And I want you to continue to like and to subscribe and to share what I'm doing and with the work that I am doing. So I want to say to you, thank you. And make sure you put on your notifications so that you will be notified when I go live, and you'll be notified when I drop different episodes, because coming in the next month or so, it's small steps, big changes coming back, and it's going to be things that you need to know. So you may want to be a part of that as well. All right. As I always say, that's all for today. And I will see you next time.